Hello and welcome to Out of Our League, the show where we interview cool people doing cool things that are out of our league. I'll be your host, Ben, today. I'm not Gage. I am Ben. I'm the disembodied voice you're hearing right now. I'm an artificial intelligence sent from the future. This is me. And we have some amazing guests with us today to talk about our cool guest and interview with us. First up, let's go and introduce the one, the only, from Patch Notes, it's Caesar Towers.
Ah! Hello! Hey!
It's you. We said there was going to be some screaming.
That's me. Some screaming. Probably not the kind of screaming you want to hear, but we'll see.
How you doing, buddy? You're
Hello.
right.
I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
You excited?
Yeah, I am Mr. Please Be Excited, Benjamin.
Sweet. That's good. That's good. And we have in the top right-hand corner my fellow co-host from the OU pod. It's Erica!
Oh, that's me. Hi.
Woo, it's you.
What's up?
What's happening? How you doing?
Thank you for inviting me on again.
Thank you
I
so
was
much
so
for being
excited.
on.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about this little guy here in the corner here?
This is my new friend. I stress bought lots of stuffed animals the other day, and he arrived last night. I was very excited. So he's in here with me today.
Has he got a name?
He does have a name. This is what is it? Dr. Darth Daddy Stash is his name. So that's
the
his
name.
That's his name.
That's the name.
Yeah. So that's his name.
I don't know about you,
and
but
he's
that's the name
hanging
if I've ever heard one.
I love it. Love it. And at the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Pokemon Master himself. It's Kumail H. What's up, Kumail?
Hello, it's me, the
Thank
Pokemon
you.
Master himself.
You are the master of Pokemon.
And I'm
There's no
also,
other masters.
as Erica and Caesar said, I'm very pleased to be excited today.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I understand that you might have a heart out, so if you do see Kumail leave,
Just
you
know he's
might
playing
just...
Monster Hunter.
Like, any excuse to go play some Monster Hunter. Oh no.
You got to get them Rathalos, dude. You know?
Exactly.
You gotta
Exactly.
do it.
Got to catch them all. Got to catch them all.
Rathalos,
I don't know what
that's
it's
the guy
like.
from Smash
I don't know
Brothers.
why I'm like this with monster games. Why am I attracted to monster games? I don't understand. But hey, you know.
Let's dissect that for the next hour and a half. Why does Kumail
Yeah,
like
let's move on because I want to talk to Alex. I don't care about me right now. I want to speak to Alex.
And she's our Kevin Coelho. She's our producer today. It's McKenna from Patch Notes.
Yay!
McKenna Coelho.
How you doing?
Doing fantastic. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for doing the producing today.
Thank you.
Gage is on a very well-deserved break. He only has that one job, but it is a tough job, so he's taken that break. So if you can send him some love at GF2Cool, and send
Please do.
McKenna some love for helping out and producing the show today as well, that'd be fantastic. Potterpants212 on Twitter.
Thank you.
Send Gage a picture of a sloth.
Thank
No,
you,
he
loves
McKenna.
sloths,
I
dude.
appreciate
He'd love
your
it.
help on this show today.
Yeah.
And that
Thank
voice
you.
is the one, the only, it's Alex O'Neill from Irrational Passions.
Yay.
Hello.
Very
Is it-
special guest today.
Is it the thing? Is it like the monsters? They have wings? Is that what it is? Is it?
Well, okay, Alex.
Because
look,
I
I
came to
don't
talk about
discriminate.
monsters.
Is it a fetish
Yeah.
thing?
Alex, here's the thing.
Oh, I know.
Kumail has a podcast
Okay.
all
dear.
about Pokemon.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Poke Ramble. And
Pocket monsters. I love it.
yeah, all he does is talk about Pokemon on this podcast. And his new obsession
Great.
is Monster Hunter Rise.
Yes.
So
yes, it
it's
is.
just monster games in
And
general.
I know one Alex O'Neill's been playing some Monster Hunter, so at some point
I have
yeah,
been.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have to squat up, dude. We're gonna have
I'm
to squat up.
down. Ben,
Very
when you
different
ask
games.
people, "Are you excited?" Is it supposed to sound so much like a threat? Uh,
Better be
Sometimes.
excited.
Sometimes.
because it's like, "Hey,
I do
are
ask
you,
nicely,
are
though.
you excited? Because if you're not, we're gonna have to have a conversation after this."
I'm going to turn this
The
ship around right
punishment
now
is
if
Ben
you're not
turns on his
excited.
webcam.
The please is hypothetical if you wanted to know the details.
The please
just
is
a
so I
plea
don't get
that's a
arrested
tree, you know?
again.
Yeah.
The please is so I don't go to jail again.
Again.
I love it. Again.
So how you doing, Alex? Are you good, buddy?
I'm all right. I feel like everybody's just doing okay right now. If
Yeah.
anyone's doing great, you hit me up. Let me know what's going on.
I'm perfect.
I want to
got
know
it.
how
Good
you're
vibes, you
doing
know?
great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I am perfectly all right.
Yeah, with the shaking hand of coffee.
I'm fine.
It's great. It's great.
Alex, you just came into this Discord and it was already on fire, but you just ran with it, and I really appreciate that, man. I really do.
Embrace the chaos.
I'm a consummate professional. This is what I came here to do.
Well, since you're just such a professional, let's kick this off with a big question, if I may say so myself, from Philip J. Woodward on Twitter. friend or member of Simply Sassy.
Friend of the show.
What inspired you to want to travel down the path of video games, and what's your dream job? Big question to start off the show with.
Loaded question.
And maybe
Um,
before you even go to that big question, Alex, to give you some time to think. Who
Sure.
are you, Alex?
Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm just some guy, you know. I'm just another white dude talking about video games. I'm
get
But you
sure
don't have a beard.
I don't have a beard. I can't
Yeah.
grow one, but I have long hair, so I had to.
That's your beard.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's my
trade-off.
beard.
Yeah.
And I also have a fake girlfriend that can be my beard too. No, I am, you know, I'm a person from Maryland that has been writing and making Maryland, the United States. I forget we are cross continental here, which is on the eastern seaboard of the United States because Maryland is one of the
Sorry.
ones that everyone's like, where the fuck is that? I know
It's
where
on the East
California
Coast.
is.
All I know about
Um,
Maryland is fish.
We were
Are-
just talking about Maryland before we started the podcast too, actually.
That's great. It's my
My
home state.
only
I've lived here
touch
my
to
whole
m-
life.
Fantastic.
My only touch to Maryland is a guy called Maryland who did a lot of Pokemon content back in the day.
Sure.
Of
In
course it is.
in the town I used to live in, there was a Maryland person that everyone called the Columbia Bike Guy, and he just rode around town with a bike full of shopping bags of stuff and had a helmet, and everyone honked at him. I'm not kidding. This is a real thing. Go look it up.
Yeah. We have a
Can
guy
I-
in our local area who just wears a wizard hat and like has a cat on a leash, and it's just, all right, dude. If that's what you're gonna do, that's what you're gonna do. You know.
We
You
have a
don't question
guy.
it.
We have a guy in my town who he drives a red van that has pictures of Santa Claus all over it.
Mm.
And the one time I saw this guy in real life, it was to see the movie Hop, which is the movie about the Easter Bunny. And this is a guy, big old like white guy, white beard, white hair, had a cane that was like Christmas decorated, red shirt, red pants, and overalls. This man was Santa Claus. This man was like,
He was
this
Santa.
man
Well, here's
was
the thing,
Santa Claus.
We know it's physically impossible to deliver all those presents in one day, so he's playing the long game. You see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Steve, so you didn't go in the van, did you, buddy?
No, I didn't.
Good job.
He,
It's a
he
fair
was not a
question.
giraffe. He was not
Oh.
a giraffe from Australia. No.
Okay,
That's
good.
is if a giraffe from Australia was driving a red van, would you get in it?
Very
Yes, because
trustworthy,
apparently this giraffe has great sex advice. Apparently, but that's a different conversation.
It's another
gotta-
conversation.
I gotta listen
So
to
you're
some
from
older
Maryland.
podcasts.
Oh,
I started a website with two friends called irrationalpassage.com in 2010, which gets me like this weird, you know, longevity credibility, but I promise everyone I'm just as bad at this as everyone else. But I was 17 at the time. I was in my senior year of high school or about to go into it. And it's still there. Crazy, right? That's really the story. It's changed a lot since then, but I'm sure, you know, we'll probably talk about that. I've been doing stuff like that for a long time, and, you know, feelings change. I am now a 28-year-old man. I am not a 17-year-old kid. And a lot changes in
You've seen
11
some
years.
shit in your lifetime.
I've seen some shit.
Yeah.
But more specifically, I've seen like how prejudiced and sexist and racist the video game industry is, and that really is someone goes into it like caring so much about it. And you know, everyone has that childlike glee that they look at games and any kind of media with. But it is a thing that I have been a part of. Like my growing up has also happened alongside the growing up of the video game industry. So a lot of the things that are important to me are also, I think, important things to push for in that industry. So whatever I want to do, I want to be in a position where I can do that. Greg Miller asked me this question, and I did not have an answer, and so I've thought about it a lot more since
You've
then.
just
I
been
feel
waiting
like-
for somebody to ask you that question.
I
like,
again, like, please, someone just ask me again so I can tell you a better answer. Because
That's a
I
tough
was
one,
so nervous. You don't understand.
Here's the thing, you gave a great answer. I butchered it by talking about a giraffe that has sex with.
Absolutely not. That's part of the journey, man. In those
Yeah.
11 years, you don't think I got into a fuck van with a giraffe? Of course I did. I hope we can curse on this show. Please.
Oh, yeah.
That's
it's
okay,
totally-
right?
It's open season. It's open season here.
I forgot to ask. I usually ask, but yeah. So that's the gist of it. I feel like that's an answer, right? Did
That's
I
a
do
good
all right?
answer.
Great answer.
Great answer.
And then now you can answer Phil J.
Yeah,
Woodward,
what
big
led you down the
conundrum.
path of wanting to talk about video games, and what do you see
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
doing in the future? What's your dream job?
The dream job being, be the change you want to see in the world. but like, or
Oh,
in
yada, yada.
my case, the video game industry, I am, a victim of the Greg Miller brainwashing wave of 2008. Much like many kids were, there's just a legion of white dudes out there that can tell you that they started a video game podcast, and I'm just one of them. But I think like it speaks to, like in 2008 when I started listening to more video game podcasts, I was very excited for. Might turn into a very long answer. It's just everyone buckle up. I
ready.
started. I started a kind of like one-off website using iWeb, which is a built-in application of iLife from the old Macintosh days, which again 2008 2009. So I think some of the people on this podcast might not have been able to use computers at the time.
Ow.
I'm not trying to throw stones. I'm just saying it was a different time back then, and it was a terrible looking website, but I did it. But I was obsessed with Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and I was there was like the first thing that got me to listen to podcasts, because I didn't really have a lot of friends in like pre-high school, and so like I didn't have a lot of people to talk about. Was I finished the 7th Harry Potter book, and I was like, I just need somebody to talk at me about this. So I listened to podcasts, MuggleCast after that in 2007. And then I didn't listen to any other podcasts because I didn't understand how any of that worked. I was 13, who cares? And when I was getting really excited for Smash Brothers, I started listening to my first video game podcast, a show called Show Me Your News, a very small show, very similar to my own show and the vibe that I kind of put off. And I was like staying up till 2 back in the day, the heyday of Smash Brothers. I know we got like Simon Belmont and all this then, but way back when, Sakurai was up at 4 p.m. Japanese Standard Time posting stuff every single day to the Smash Bros. Dojo, which meant 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I was there refreshing that website on the GameFAQs forums.
And it was always something different. It was never like the same thing every day. It was always just something.
Yeah, sometimes it was just like character moves. Sometimes it was a new stage. Sometimes it was a new character, like the Sonic the Hedgehog announcement was big. So I would stay up and then post on these blogs and these forums and start listening to this podcast. And at the time, I was my second period at high school was algebra, and I sat next to Scott Guthier, who is still the co-host of my podcast to this day. And I would come to school and be like, oh, the update on the Smash Bros. Website was this today, and we would talk about it. So like I was already kind of on that path. I started making a website to kind of recount the Smash Bros. Dojo updates. That was terrible. I was like sending Facebook messages to all my actual real life meat space friends because like, how do you get people to look at your website? I don't know. Still don't know. Then in 2010, the opportunity arose, and Scott and our friend Evan and myself started the podcast. Mostly because at that time I was really on other forums. VG Evo, shout out. I don't know if it still exists, but that was like a forum I spent a lot of time on, met a lot of friends. They had a community section of podcasts. We were watching one of those community podcasts, Evan, Scott, and I was like, hey, do you guys want to do this? Me in my heart, I had been wanting to start a podcast for years. I just like lured them into my little victim hole where I could convince them of like, they were watching it. It seems like he was having a fun time. So I was like, hey guys, we can do this. That's literally how it started. And the fact that it has lasted 11 years since then is, I think, a testament to like, one, how great friends those are. Like Evan doesn't do this with us anymore. I still, talk to him every now and again, but Scott's been there since day one. We've had more people join, and it has become so many other things that it's even hard to compare it to where I was when I started. Like, I was writing terrible video game reviews and posting on this iWeb website with no training. I just threw myself into it, which is what everyone does now in 2021. But in 2010, it was just so different. Everyone was doing it then, it turns out, but it was just a little bit less of everyone. And it's a different vibe now. That's what really got me started. Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
It's an amazing accomplishment. Not many podcasts can say they've been around that long, so
that consistency is insane, dude.
And not that many podcasts can say.
The pandemic has really thrown off our consistency, which is it's funny. Like this thing, so many years later, has finally really hit us, but. It is, the website's still there. We still do stuff every week. I still have people popping off in Slack, all these years later, and it is still a special warm place for me,
Can I just ask you about the website actually? Because it's one of the things I visited last night, and I was like, "Fucking hell, this looks impressive." And like I've gone to other video game websites where it just looks like a fucking mess compared to like what you've said. Like, who's done all that? Was that you, or have you got people behind the scenes, or?
Let me tell you about the magic of creating a website. I mean, so like it is, anyone who has like had to peel back the curtain of like, oh, running a website's terrible. Let me tell you about it. Because I again had to just kind of learn all this on the fly. It's just we have a very nice WordPress theme that I paid money for, not that much money, like $60 to $80 for, so you can license it for your thing, for your site, and with some minor adjustments to it, like we got it to where it's at now, which I'm happy with. If you could look behind in the back end, it's like, oh boy, this is just a mess here, isn't it? And it's kind of a consistent problem, but it was many iterations, like that iWeb website, which was ippodcast.net, in a very different world before we had irrationalpassions.com. And when it was more of just the podcast. Now I would say it's more of just the website. The kind of things have changed, but yeah, it's a nice WordPress theme. But the one that we came from before this, which I'd used for like 6 years, I think we made the change over in 2017. We had to manually copy over all of our reviews to the new format of the website and redo them and redate them and rename them and all that. And that was a labor of love that I will never do again. Everything is there for the most part. We lost some stuff in 2011, but everything is there from that around 2011. You can go back and see like the very first WordPress post we made, but it's more of just convenience. Like people with websites that they paid to have somebody make it, it's always going to be a very different thing, a much more professional thing, I think. But I guess the job done. I'm glad you like it. I appreciate the compliment.
Honestly, I'm not trying to flatter you. It looks amazing, and I visit a lot of websites. It's really, really good. So just big up yourself, because honestly, it's amazing.
Yeah, I have like a very specific thing that I like things to look like, and I think it's all right.
Simplicity is key. That's why I say simplicity is key. Like, I don't want to see all this clutter, things popping out at me. I want to see something. It's beautiful, dude. It's
the worst is when I go on a website and there's like 20 pop-ups.
Yeah, we have no ads or anything.
Get off private browsing.
Like we just have like a
on that note,
general tracker. Yeah. There it is.
There's the food. Yo.
Sound like an ice cream truck rolled up.
Would most people know of Irrational Passions from the website or the podcast, Alex?
Most people would know from Greg Miller. And that's been a great gift of him kind of shouting our name out into the void. I don't know. I feel like most people would probably know us from, I guess, the website at this point. The Irrational Passions podcast, the main podcast, I would say is a lot more like we will attract a crowd that actually listens when we do something kind of one-off or specific. The regular listeners are just a quiet bunch.
Mm-hmm. So that's how I know it from Greg Miller from back in the Beyond days, talking about it. And I've been listening to, for the most part, since then. I'm a little bit behind at the moment. I normally try and watch the Game of the Year stuff. I haven't got to the Nobishin episode, him leaving, so that might.
Yeah, well, if you don't listen to it, he'll never actually leave. So.
Oh, great.
That's how it works. Someone told me that.
That's how it works.
And I'm like, that's beautiful, and it's not how it works, but I appreciate your commitment.
That's a great idea. Just won't do that. It's perfect.
That's fine.
Now, have we got any other community? I know we had quite a few community questions.
Can I derail the podcast and ask one and ask a few other questions?
Please.
Go for it.
Before I have to go. So this question comes from Robin GL. And he basically asks, why is Nier Automata the best game ever? But he wants me to ask you about it.
I don't know why someone asked this question. I don't know how my opinions about Nier Automata got out there. I don't like Nier Automata.
Oh, nice. It's about time we had someone like you here.
Is that why Robin couldn't make it today?
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
I want to make sure I get the wording on this right. Oh, you just said ask him about Nier Automata.
Yeah, which is feels aggressive, if you know what I mean. There's like,
the way he worded it was also like he knows what he did.
It's
he knows what the answer is.
I transliterated that, so I know what Robin was asking.
Sure.
But he tried to mask it by
No. Robin wasn't asking. Like McKenna said, he was commanding. He was demanding.
It's a veiled threat, not even veiled.
Tell him. Ask him about it.
Um,
Ask him about Nier Automata. Do it.
I don't like Nier Automata, and it's a complicated thing. It's one of those things like too where there's so much miscommunication about that game, like that it has multiple endings. When like it's when you play the game, it's like, oh, this is just like, it's just chapters, right? Like, it's just parts of this. There's like 5 acts or whatever, and you go through 5 acts. It's not like so it gives like this false impression of like, oh, when you beat it after 20 hours, like you finished it, and it's like, no, it is meant to be kind of played through these 5 acts. And so when I got to the end of that, I was really and the terrible thing is I kind of was, I won't spoil it here, but I was ruined on kind of the big thing that happens at the end that is very unique and interesting. But when I got there, I just was so disappointed. I think the 2 main leads are like just not great characters. And when I hear about the kind of subtlety to their dialogue, a lot of that did not register with me when I played it. And there's like a lot of layers to how the characters talk to each other that implies they know more what they are saying. And I am interested in that kind of storytelling, but I think it is very hit or miss for me. And it hard missed on this one.
So from what I've gleaned, actually, is that you've got great taste in video games. So why don't you tell me more about Persona 5 Royal and Monster Hunter Rise?
Sure. I really like Persona 5 Royal. I've been on record saying that is my favorite game of all time.
Yep.
Was somebody going to say something?
No, I was gonna say. So I did a Game of the Year podcast with Camille, and he's like, finally, an outlet for me to talk about Persona 5 Royal, because nobody will listen to me talk about this game.
Yeah.
I ran over so much on that.
Sure. I mean, like, Royal was also like, it was a big personal high moment for me. It was the first Persona game I've ever gotten for review. Not trying to brag here, just it happened. I had it about 3 weeks before it. I had it 3 weeks before it came out. The release date was also my birthday last year, which is wonderful, March 31st. So it was like this very wonderful little spot, Cupid's arrow through my heart. So I was like, it was like 2 a.m. or not 2 a.m. It was like 11 a.m. after I had stayed up the entire night finishing the game. I'm just sitting in my couch as the sun is rising and the tears are streaming down my face. One of the most powerful endings in video games, and I have like been the Persona guy for a long time. Like when I'm going through laps of it now, but like when I've talked about my kind of health issues and chronic fatigue syndrome. When I was going through the first bout of that in 2009, I played through Persona 3 Fez for the first time, and that game like legitimately changed my life. And changed how I thought about video games, right? That was like the first RPG that I played that I like legitimately paid attention to. And that is such a somber game, especially by the end.
It must have hit very close considering what it's all about.
Yeah, I've written about it, and it is like a very poignant game for me, but then like going on to Persona 4 and then eventually finishing that with Golden, and that was my favorite game for a very long time, and then playing 5 in 2017 and not liking it as much as Golden and feeling conflicted about how knowing that there might be a re-release of 5 with more content in it and thinking about that while playing 5. It's a very weird trip, you get in your head about that stuff, but then I think they really stuck the landing with Royal. That game has problems. That game gives the illusion of nuance in a lot of cases where it doesn't have it, but it doesn't treat queer characters very well, but and there aren't enough of them, certainly. But in spite of all that, I think it is one of the most poignant and wonderful video games I've ever played.
I'm right there with you with 5, because after I finished 5, I was like, I really like this, but 4 Golden for me is still probably top. And then
It's an epilogue. It really seals the deal.
After playing Royal, it's like, you know what, these 2 are on par for me. Like honestly,
Yeah.
2 other questions I wanted to get to. I guess the first one is I've seen that Irrational Passions have done a few charity streams. 2 of them that I can note. I just wanted to ask you what's the sort of thinking behind that, and as someone who wants to start doing some charity streaming, where do I go and how do I sort of like set all that up? Really,
that's a good question. We're doing another one soon, but I am not the one organizing it, so I'm not going to mess up any details.
Well, where can they like follow to find?
I would say like our twitch.tv/irrational passions. That's going to be where all that stuff is going to happen. So Did my first Extra Life in 2010 after the podcast started, and again, very different time. Extra Life was like very new. I think it was like the third year it had been happening, and that has always been a big part of every year for me. And it's something that I just loved the idea of mixing video games with charity, and I think they did a great job of it. Just play games for 24 hours or something. Like, I'll fucking do this without, you didn't have to tell me twice. Like, I'll do this anyway. And as terrible and unhealthy as that is, I'm happy to do it for charity. And so we've been doing it ever since then. And we've always, like, the IP channel has always donated to Johns Hopkins, which is the hospital I go to for my chronic fatigue. So it's also like a full circle kind of thing for me. As far as like starting one, that is like very difficult. I would just encourage anyone to starting one to very thoroughly vet any charities that they go through. Just, make sure that, and something that's always important to me is that the people that you're asking to donate are like donating directly to the charity. I like am not a fan of anyone like saying like donate to my PayPal and then I'll donate to charity. I'm more of like, yeah, I want to have a button that you can click and it goes to the page that you pay and it's going right to them. No
What I like is I use Tiltify sometimes.
Yeah, Tiltify is what we use most recently.
And they donate straight to the charity. They don't keep any of the money. It just goes to the charity. Tiltify covers everything.
Yeah, Tiltify is what I would recommend. Like they have a lot of great, because you can just get like a URL overlay. It's very simple. It just goes.
And you keep track of how much people have donated as well.
Yeah, and you can open donations and close them for like set periods. So if you only want them open during streams or whatever, you could do something like that. There's a lot of different tools to look at. I would just say, ask yourself, what are you doing it for? And vet the charity. And it is more important. The charity part of it is more important than anything else. Just remind yourself of that. It is like a lot of times I've gotten myself into trouble because like I've made a show of it when it is more important that it's about charity. And I think if you're good at that, you can do both. And if you have enough time to prepare, like I know a lot of people pick out Extra Life 2017 for Rational Passions is like a lot of people know us from that. When Greg Miller came to my house, which is weird. It was great. It was great. It was wonderful. I don't take that as like a negative at all, but it was just surreal. And that was able to be a show because, I had 27 people in my very relatively medium-sized house. A lot of people sleeping on the floor, but, we had a lot of hands on deck and we're able to get a lot of things done. Don't overextend yourself, because then you have no money going to charity and you just feel like shit. So
we have like questions that we ask every guest on the podcast, and I've got one that I usually ask, and I've got another one that I'm going to start asking from now on. I guess the first one I'll ask is, or it's going to be retrospective, but could you find me a piece of art related to Kind of Funny that you'd like to see put up on the Kind of Funny museum? We've got a friend of the show, Mark Freeman, who's got like a Kind of Funny museum at his house. And he's looking for a new piece to go up in the museum. So if you could find something, send it our way. We can forward it on to Mark and let him know that that's your pick for the Kind of Funny museum.
What kind what is the restriction on piece of art?
Do you know what? Just do whatever you feel is right. Whatever you like. Okay. We'll let Mark worry about everything else afterwards.
Like you're talking about like a moment from Kind of Funny history, or
more like pictures. Sorry. If that,
yeah, that's why I was. I'm like,
sorry. More like
there's 1,000 video
like
clips I could send you that I would qualify as art, even if some people would disagree. But
do you know what? Maybe he could like screenshot it and just put it up like that, and that's just like that screenshot.
Sure,
will represent
I
that
know exactly what it would be then.
Go hit us. What would it be?
It's Greg Miller yelling Oscar with his hands in the air like this.
And my other question was going to be, and I think you might have platinumed this game, but why is Kingdom Hearts 3 a bad game?
It's not. Next question.
Oh. Let's get into this.
Don't get me started on this, because I'll bring heat that you do not.
That's the real reason why Kumail has to leave.
There is a reason now. He does have to leave. I'm sorry, Ben, but
he's
no longer excited.
I'm going to edit this to look like. Are we going to edit this to make it look like he's kicked me out my own server? No, Alex, thank you so much, man. I'm sorry I have to go. But
I'm sorry
thanks
you
so
had to
much,
go with
dude.
that heat that you're leaving me with. 'Cause now I'm just gonna be fucking pissed off the
Listen,
rest of this
it's okay
podcast.
that you're wrong. It's perfectly fine. I'll DM you about it. We can have a whole thing. But no, thank you so much.
No, he's gonna block you on Twitter.
I am.
There's
gonna
no
block you on
DMing.
Twitter.
There's a
no
block
DMing.
coming
You
your way.
Literally burned this bridge right here, right now. I hope you're happy.
You thought you built something with Persona
Can I
5
just come
and
back
Nier
in?
Automata. No, you burned it down immediately.
Can I just come back in, like, just shave everything and just be like, oh hey, I'm Kamel's
Hey, don't know
brother.
that guy. He fucking hated Kingdom Hearts 3. I love it.
Hey,
My name is
I'm
Pokemon
Cam.
I have a
Bolt.
Digimon
I'm
podcast.
Cam Hale, and
Yeah, with my little staff and whatnot.
Cam
No.
Hale. I'm
So you
Kumal.
met my brother earlier. You know what an asshole. You know.
All right, all right. At least we can agree on Persona 5 Royal. I'm happy about that. I'll take
No,
that.
we don't agree on that anymore.
Take care, guys.
Amazing.
Have a good
one, man.
Later, buddy.
It's nice chatting.
bye, buddy.
Thanks.
Wait, Ben. Wait, Ben.
Okay, you're good.
If it,
Okay, no.
if it makes you feel better, Alex, I have not played Kingdom Hearts, but I respect it because it's very ambitious.
Thank you for respecting it because not enough people give me that, and that's all I'm fucking asking for,
Yo,
you guys.
I respect Kingdom Hearts because as crazy as it looks, they try. And it's like barely, but they try something.
Some might argue they succeed.
But I respect it. I respect people
I
that
love
love it, and I
Kingdom
respect
Hearts.
people that make it.
Unironically, to the point of tears. Please don't fight me. I just don't have the energy.
I always wanted a Kyrie tattoo, but yeah, that's another story for another time.
Speaking of questions that we always ask our guests, Ben, do you have something?
Yes, I do. I do, Caesar. Thank you. So one question we ask everyone is about Greg Miller. So I don't know if you've heard this question asked before, but we like to ask it, and it's just the fact that obviously Greg Miller's everywhere at all times. You know, he's hosting, he's tweeting, he's
the Quantum
somehow
Miller.
doing,
Yes.
exactly, somehow doing multiple shows at once. You know, he's just, what is he? Is the question.
He was on this show, right?
Yes,
He was. We asked him point blank. You know.
Yeah. What's he doing, man?
I mean,
We're asking you.
his-
What do you think? What do you think, Greg? How do you think
His
Greg Miller's
theory
able to
is
do all
just
these
that
things?
he's just.
Oh, how is
just-
he doing all these things?
Yeah.
Well, I know the answer, so I can't tell you. Can I
Okay.
just make a fake answer?
Sure.
Dude,
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
just if he DMs a person on Twitter, he can occupy their body for a short amount of time.
Oh wow.
And through that, he is able to just do a lot of things. That's why he's always asking for brands to send him shit on Twitter. He's like, yeah, DM me. Got him.
Whoa.
And he gets a bunch of Ghostbusters toys.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
My mind is
Playmobil.
blown. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, one question I do want to ask, because I know you're a huge Tales fan, and Tales is something that I've always wanted to get into.
Excellent.
The person who may or may not have just been on the show before that we won't talk about is a huge Tales fan. I know Eric is a massive Tales fan. So I'd love to
am.
just hear a little bit about your history. And for people like me that want to get into it, where should we start? What are the big hits? And how excited are you for the new Tales one coming out?
I never get asked. Thank you, Ben, for asking me about Tales. Now I can.
knew
Now,
you'd like
like
it. I knew you'd
the
like it.
knot in my stomach from the Kingdom Hearts 3 mode is starting to unwind.
It's good.
Can't wait for Camille to come back and be like, the thing
I
about
was gonna be
Tails.
so angry too because I know he really wanted to talk about Tales too.
DLC, you idiot! I'm like, loved it. What do you want? The first one I played was Tales of Symphonia, which I feel like is a lot of people's first ones. And you know that was like 2004, I think. And 10-year-old me was like, "This GameCube game's got 2 discs. What does
Right?
it mean?"
I know. Mind blown.
yeah,
It's
it
so
was.
crazy.
And what was cool about that game is I played it mostly co-op, which is
Wow.
very difficult to do with Tales games because one, they're hundreds of hours long, and two, you can only do it locally, forever. Although there's workarounds with like modern technology, but yeah, I love that game. I play it with my friends Ian and Casey. We got through it. You know, everyone dunks on Genus because he sucks. And we love him for it, I guess, depending on the mood I'm in. From there, I like the next game I played was, I think I played Tales of Legendia, which is completely forgettable, at least in my opinion. It's fine, you know, it's just nothing of it sticks out. And then went on to Vesperia in 2008. I think that's really where it clicked with me. Like that's my favorite in the franchise to this day. I rented it from GameFly. Because it sounded like Tales of Symphonia, and turns out they were related. Total guess on my part, but boy, that 14-year-old kid in me was happy. From there, like, I've played most of them that have come out since then. As far as like a good place to start, I think probably Tales of Berseria, which is the most recent one, is a good place to start. It feels great to play. It is like I'm sure it probably runs. It was a little framey on PS4 originally, but I'm sure it probably runs fine on PS5 if you have one. And that game is very modern, and I feel like Tales of Arise is also going to be very modern. Yeah, I'm very excited.
I'm so excited.
And what's cool about Berseria is it is like way easier to combo in that game. There's like a very easy to grasp system of kind of like pulling the trigger mid attack to kind of restart a combo, which is easy to like grasp. And so like very early on in that game, I think it feels very fun to play kind of after you get your demon powers. And from there you just realize like, oh, this is so much deeper, and all these characters can use this ability in a completely different way, and it just feels great to play. Plus, I think Tales of Berseria has one of the more interesting stories because you get to play as the villain, and it acts a lot like a kind of like other side of the coin of Tales of Zestiria, which is actually like a narrative sequel to that game that came out before it. But that game is not as interesting, so I think you should just play Tales of Berseria. But I love it. I mean, I think the thing I would say that I really love about Tales, and it's always true to like the games now, is, I mean, they're anime games, right? When you watch the opening of any of these games, it's like a whole great anime opening. It looks like anime. The game even looks like anime in its own regard, and it plays out like a season of an anime. Like, that's a good way to think about it. Or in a short series, like a 26 episode series. And they're full, like, it's always about the cast. Like, the character group that you kind of your party is always the focus of those games, and kind of like the way that they are related to each other, or the way that those relations conflict with one another. And I love that, and I think Vesperia embodies that in everything it does. I think it has some of the best characters in any like corny JRPG you could pick out, and I think everyone should play it. It's on everything. You have no excuse.
No excuses, people. And I can't remember exactly which entry it was that you wrote about, but there was an article, it was quite a while ago now on the IP website, and it was incredible, about Tales. I can't remember which game it was, but
I wrote a couple of things. I think I wrote like a mechanics-based article on one of them. I reviewed Tales of Zillia 2, which is a very weird game.
It is a very weird game.
that was the one I think it was a bit of a roller coaster, wasn't it?
So
Yeah. It's hard because like that's the only Tales game where you can switch primary weapons as the main character. So you have essentially 3 completely different art styles that you can play with, but also the rest of the game is questionable.
Yeah.
So it's like simultaneously one of the most fun games to play, but also like not.
So
Yeah, Eric, have you got anything that you'd like to talk to about in regards to Tales?
Actually,
I
well,
can see you there.
I'm so excited because anytime.
can I just say really quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
It shows how much I don't know about this game, because to look it up, I typed in TAILS, and I was just like, oh, it's
No.
not a
Wait.
game about a fox, or
It's not. It is such a JRPG game, and
Wait.
I love it.
They're
This isn't
Tales,
like-
like
Sonic Tales? This isn't Sonic
no,
Tales?
they're,
I'm
No,
just
they're
it's-
like stories Tales.
I thought this was a
Yeah.
spin-off game of Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, I thought this was like Shadow.
This makes
Boy.
so much more sense now.
The next generation really is
Everything
hopeless.
makes so much sense.
Ouch!
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Ouch.
I'm
No,
not that much younger than you. I'm like 9 years younger.
I know.
That's a lot.
That
Oh,
is a lot.
That's not that
sometimes.
much younger though. That's within 10 years.
That's a
It's
third.
a
That's a
lot.
third of my life.
That's within 10 years though. That's not that.
It's still a
that's not
third of
that
my.
much-
That's a 10-year-old dude. That's a, he's just about
It's a
ready to go to high
10-year-old.
school.
That's a
you know?
child right there.
Yeah, that's a child.
I always get excited when anybody talks about Tales because I think when Symphonia came out, I know I had such a hard time finding a copy around here. I actually borrowed a copy off of my friend, and I still have that copy at home. I never gave it back to him, which is
Hey.
awful. Yeah.
If you want
Hi,
to know
Nate.
something funny, that's also true of me. I have a friend's copy that
That's
I've never given back to.
amazing.
I'm
It was
looking at it
so-
right now.
I
These people
and
that are just giving away their copies of Tales. Yeah.
I would
My,
honestly,
my co-host Tony Horvath, please don't tell him.
I would.
Poor
I
Toe.
would go to GameStop and ask them, do you have any copies of this? And they're like, yeah, in New York. I'm like, well, I'm not driving to New York to get a copy. So, and I think it took me probably a good 6 or 7 years to actually acquire my own copy. And by that point, we didn't talk anymore, which was sad. But I
Was it
was
because you kept
just-
his copy of Tales?
no, it was because his wife hated me. But that's another story. We're not
Oh,
going
okay.
there.
Okay.
Nice.
But
Classic.
tale is old as time.
Yep.
But
It comes back to Tales. Yeah.
the hell comes back to
Tales is old as time.
Symphonia was such a great game, and it was like the whole 2-disc thing, and you got to the end of disc 1 and it was just mind blown. You're like, oh my gosh, there's still a whole second disc. And Zillia,
There's
the
2
first-
discs.
there's 2 discs. It was a GameCube game and there was 2 discs,
okay.
and it was amazing. And
Yeah.
but the
That makes
first
sense.
Zillia game, and I think Ben and I were actually talking about this the other night. Tales of Zillia was my favorite, but nothing will compare to Symphonia just because that's what got me into those games, and I loved it so much. But
Yeah.
I'm so excited for Arise, because a new Tales game, but also I so want to cosplay the main characters so badly.
Yeah.
But I'm just so excited. And actually, I did pick that game in our Fantasy Critic League. They can.
It's in my fantasy critic league as well.
Yes.
Gotta always
wanna do a
double down
Tales
on
cosplay?
anime.
Heck yeah. I'm
wanna do a
very
Tales
excited.
When's it
cosplay,
coming
Erica?
out?
Huh?
You want to do a Tales cosplay, Erica?
I'm gonna do Tales cosplay.
Not the
Silly's
Tales you're
great.
thinking of.
Zillia is so much fun.
Oh, different
yeah,
Tales, sorry.
I know. Different Tales. Different Tales.
Sorry.
Yes. But Zillia was always one of my favorites.
Zillia
And
probably still has the best like combat like mechanic.
the combat, yeah.
The thing that they do in that game is like very specific and very great.
It was fantastic.
Final boss of Tales of Zillia also 10 out of 10.
Absolutely fantastic.
Gaius is great.
This is amazing. It was such a great game. I love that game so much. I might have to replay some Tales games. Oh, but that leads
Put them
me
on
to my
PS4
question.
or PS5.
I
Yeah,
know. Oh,
silly.
I
Please
do
do it.
have it, I think, on my PS4. And I think I actually bought one of them for my Switch too. So yeah, gonna have to get into those again. But I have a question from Serenity Drop the Bass, Carl, Mr. Roland Mog. He says, hey Alex, which game are you looking forward to most this year on any platform?
All right, what games are coming out this year? Hold on, guys.
Deathloop got
I-
delayed again.
Deathloop did get
Yeah,
delayed.
Deathloop did get
It's coming
delayed.
out this year, apparently.
Still this
September.
year.
September. Mhm.
Hopefully, if
Um,
McKenna is very lucky, it comes out this year.
That's on my fantasy critic league.
Yep.
Number 1.
I don't know. There's a lot. It's always like 50 different things at once. I'm very excited to replay Final Fantasy VII Remake because that's me. You got me.
The DLC that's
you
coming
did
out
it,
this year?
Nomura. What did you say?
The DLC Integrate? Is that what
Yeah.
you're excited to play?
And just to play it again at 60 frames per
Any
second.
excuse to play it again.
Because that's what I need. But I feel like I'm blanking on this fall. I will say a game, just maybe not the one I'm looking forward to the most, but doesn't get mentioned enough, is Back 4 Blood, which also recently got delayed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I very very much. I think that actually might be next year now, so I feel like I can't do that anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Ask me again in 20 minutes when I've thought about it a few more times.
Okay,
can't-
we'll come
I
back.
Set a
can't-
timer. Hold on.
Okay, timer set.
Thank you.
I
Go.
can't wait to play Cyberpunk because it's still not available on PlayStation.
That's
I'm
fair.
good.
Yeah, me too. I really don't want to play that game.
Yeah.
I bought that game. It's fine.
That's fine.
It's a bummer, but
It's a
it's fine.
video. It's a video game.
It's a video game.
It's a video game, man. Video
Yeah.
games are very.
Yeah, we don't need to get
There's
all
something.
upset about it, y'all.
Yeah,
It's not Kingdom Hearts 3.
I'm fine.
I'm
on
never
that
gonna
note-
let it go. I hope he knows that I'm never gonna let it go. Ooh,
I love it.
I am holding a grudge.
Grudge for life, you know?
Write that down, just like at Camille H.
Yep.
I have a list on my
Well,
Google
I was-
Doc that's just why I blocked every person on Twitter, and next to his name it'll just say Kingdom Hearts 3.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
I'll know
Do
what
you
it means.
actually have a
You know
list of people
more.
that you've blocked on
No,
Twitter?
no, am I a psychopath? I just block people
I
that say
imagine somebody
mean
has
things to me.
I imagine somebody has that just like in case they like look through their block list. It's like, why did I block this person?
Why
They
did-
look through and they're like, oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
why.
you need a
I feel like
spreadsheet for that.
that's-
Spreadsheet would be more
that's-
appropriate.
That's like kill list adjacent. So I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break
Oh,
those
okay,
habits.
fair
you
enough.
know?
Some Billy Madison stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of video games and everything that's going on, how do you feel about E3 coming back? Because you've been in the industry for a while. E3 this year is an all digital event. What do you think about that?
I am very sad that I never got to go to an E3
Really?
and never will, more than likely. So
You think
Just-
they're gonna stay digital or
I think they'll either stay digital or just it will cease to exist.
yeah?
But I don't know. Like, I'm more concerned for like the production side of it. Like, it's so easy to consume E3 and enjoy it as a consumer. There's really like a completely guilt-free experience out there for you, and that's fine. But like, I want if something like that is to exist, I want it to exist in a positive capacity, right? Like,
Yeah.
the ESA has caused problems and ruffled enough feathers that maybe they're just not capable of doing that. Or if they are, it might just still be detrimental to games as a whole. But like, in an ideal world, it's like a joint council between actually Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, which I think could happen in the future, but it's just probably not going to happen right now, which
Probably
is a
not
bummer.
with the ESA.
No ESA. Just or they kind of form their own kind of replacement for it because that needs to be replaced.
Yeah, how they run E3s are interesting because they have a 6-figure entry fee for their partners,
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
disgusting.
Yeah,
That's capital D disgusting in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, look at PAX and which is an event I love to go to, and we'll continue going to even with like the kind of problem that hovers around it in a lot of capacity, even in the penny arcade sense. But I still think the fact that a lot of that space on the floor is like developer first, and indies first, and like actual real people first. That's more important.
do you think they put more care into that rather than the ESA? Does
I think
ESA
so.
like feel like a cash grab to you? Like it feels like they're just trying to.
I
benefit?
feel like if they aren't helping small teams get to E3, if they aren't helping make that feel like that people want to come together to talk about games in a positive light, or make the industry better, or address problems in it, like if they are instead just asking for money from big people and ignoring
Mhm.
everyone else, that is the exact wrong way to do this.
Yeah. People were saying that E3 coming back could be a good thing because it cleans up like all the clutter that was last year of like game announcements and stuff like that.
I think, and that's true, but that is assuming a lot.
Yeah.
That you're assuming that there won't be cluttered events around that people won't think that E3 is nothing, and that people won't still just either do nothing there or show up and then have their own thing in July or August. And I think we have to wait and see on that.
I think Jeff Keighley confirmed he's still doing Summer Games Fest.
I
And
did
so
see
there's
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And he
And-
also said that that's just going to be a month.
And I
It's going to
think
be
Gorilla might
condensed.
do something also, like last year. Gorilla Games Collective, I think, maybe. I don't know.
It's already too
Yeah.
many. I can tell you that much.
Yeah,
I'm already tired.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Now, Makina, did you have any community questions that you've got down there?
Yes. This one comes from Craig Robertson, or Absinthe, or Abscythe.
Craig.
Greg! What's the hardest part of the creative process for you, and how do you combat that feeling?
Oh, I was dreading this question. I mean, I think like I'm not trying to come at Craig. Was it? Is it Craig?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to come at you, Craig. I think you got to change, or focusing too much on like the solution to your creative process right now is just, it's tough, right? Like what is difficult now is going to be, you're going to have different things that are difficult for you later, and how. I think how you engage with like learning and making mistakes is how you actually deal with like the difficulty in the creative process, and I think that's something that I'm still figuring out in a lot of ways. I'm probably in like my biggest creative slump right now that I've ever been in, but I'm still doing stuff. I'm not like completely stagnant, but it's complicated, right? Like in 2013, I might have not known how to get somebody to look at the things that I'm making. Right, I'm making all these different things. But how do you get your name out there? And that is the creative struggle, right? You have ideas, but nobody cares. Still a problem, but we'll come back to that. But in 2017, you can feel like you're on top of the world, but not have the energy to make new things in the way that you wanted to. And so you take shortcuts, and then you're dealing with a product that you're not happy with. And then in 2018, maybe you've been writing every day for 1,000 days, and it doesn't feel good at all to do that anymore. And you thought it would feel better to be consistent, but consistency also takes the magic out of spur of the moment creative ideas in some cases. So like I think knowing that what you're dealing with now is going to change, and always being ready to keep changing to like fit that situation. Like this is very non-advice, but I don't know how I'm going to get out of this creative slump, but I know that I have a lot of great people in my life that help me through that every day, and that I still have the flexibility to experiment and try things because I'm not locked down to a situation where I have to be doing something on a specific timetable. And so I'm just trying to figure it out somewhere in the middle of somewhere in that gray space there. But, I don't know when or how I'm going to come to any kind of solution. And I don't know what that solution is going to look like, but I think wading into the unknown is just kind of part of that.
Nice.
I don't know if that was like understandable at all, but
It was.
no,
Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely.
I'm known for being criminally honest, so I apologize in advance.
That's
No,
the best way to be.
I'm basically the same way too. I've noticed it's like
Yep.
sometimes I'll just say things, and it's just like I should
Wear my heart on my
not have totally
sleeve.
said that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mac, did you have any other just questions of your own? I know you're a big Harry Potter fan, so
Oh yeah. Did you catch that by the way?
Yeah,
Her handle.
Oh, I caught the handle. I didn't know if anything perked up because my eyes are all over the place.
Yeah, she got her Hogwarts sweater on.
Who's your favorite character?
Oh, Fred and George. I feel
Okay.
like they're the both. What about yours?
The
Who's
de
your
facto
favorite character?
Luna Lovegood.
Yes. Yes.
Solid character right there.
Yeah, I'm a Ravenclaw, so
Okay.
Me too.
Oh, so you're a little biased, huh?
Yep, I'm a Ravenclaw too.
I feel like-
wow. a little aggressive. No.
Luna's
If we're going off of houses, I guess I would have to say mine is Cedric Diggory. Because I'm a Hufflepuff.
I don't like Luna Lovegood the most because I'm a Ravenclaw. Just to be clear, I like Luna Lovegood the most because she's the best character.
She's a great character, though.
That's
She's a
fair.
phenomenal
That's
character.
fair.
If like you ever wanted to know someone that is like themselves in spite of all of the trauma that they've been through, that is the character, and I love her for it.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
She got
She's
attacked by
so
a brain at
fantastic.
some point, dude. Like she's been through it.
She can do anything.
She's great.
She got that
Love
brain.
Yeah.
She's so good.
I don't have any other Harry Potter questions. It's always, I'm sure you understand. It's weird talking about Harry Potter now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's still mine,
Yeah.
and I've
That's
never.
okay. I want to ask you about that then.
This is a fair question.
People have a perspective of like, even if you have memories associated with something, if something comes around later on and taints it, are those memories still valid? Like, are those good memories you had with this thing still fair? For example, Harry Potter. You grew up loving Harry Potter. These terrible things came out about J.K. Rowling. Does that lessen the positive feelings you had about the series?
It does lessen it, right? And it helps that like I've had frustrations with Harry Potter as a whole, right? Like I don't like the movies. I'm sorry to the people who like the movies, but like as a diehard book fan, and the fifth Harry Potter book is my favorite book, I hate the movies. And anyone who knows the books understands that, I think.
Uh-huh. Totally.
And like just the way the in my opinion, one of the best written scenes in those books is the final confrontation between the Harry and the villain at the end of the seventh book, and somehow they ruined it in the movie. I don't understand. They took all of the what was great about that moment, and took it away. As far as like feeling it, it's different, and I think everyone has to recognize a little bit in themselves that like your line is going to be different for you, and what defines you is always going to shape that kind of feeling as well, right? Like if I was Asian American and the only Asian character in Harry Potter is Cho Chang, I would probably feel pretty differently about Harry Potter after even all this stuff about J.K. Rowling's come out. So like,
Yeah.
I understand that, and so like you always have to understand everyone's kind of personal biases coming into things. But I like feel you know, she was very poor when she wrote the first couple of those books, and she was a different person at that time. And I think, if anything, we've learned that wealth and power changes people almost unanimously for the worse. So I'd like to think that the person who wrote those books is different than the person who is walking around talking smack today. And I think there is fair feeling to credence it. And by not necessarily supporting her directly today, I can appreciate what I enjoyed about those books and the good in them, while also acknowledging that J.K. Rowling sucks nuts, big old bag of nuts right now, and
Absolutely.
she needs to get over
Heck yeah.
herself.
Yeah, I don't think any of us will disagree with you on that one.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's complicated. That's where my line is for Harry
Yeah.
Potter. I can't say, you know, like, very huge influence on me in my adult life was Dan Avedon, and that dude is a total fucking creepo.
Well, apparently it was like yes and it was no, and it was just
yeah, but like
just-
I also have read into like that situation, and I'm not like there's enough there. And I think it is the privilege of that person that so many people are ready to be like,
Yeah.
no. Even you, not to like call you on it, but like
no, it's
that
'cause-
is
yeah. I had read Pat like after the initial blow up, I kept looking into it even like weeks afterwards, and apparently she had messaged him once, he never responded, and then it wasn't until she was 22 where they started talking. And it,
Yeah,
like even
and-
then, but even then, it's like that was a fan of his that you could be like he still manipulated her in like in a sense.
yeah, and
It's-
we're not
it's
talking
still
about
weird.
a standalone incident. We're talking about
Yeah.
like eight plus things of different accounts that I've
Oh, I didn't see
chosen to believe, and you know,
that.
so
I didn't
like
see that one.
that's that specific person has a huge influence on my adult life, and recently finding out that they suck nuts also is difficult, and it's still difficult for me. Like I signed albums by this person that I threw in the garbage in frustration, you know. And also like half of the music that I listen to, because I don't really listen to a lot of music, I deleted off my phone. It's a very weird feeling. So like that is a more modern relevant situation to versus books that were written in the 90s, right? Like
Yeah.
that you can look at through an abstracted lens that doesn't have the kind of baggage that comes with it now. This is more of like a person that's still present that hasn't really talked about this or come forward or given their perspective on it at all, and I think that's way more troubling. That's where the lines I think have to be way harder, and we have to call those people out and say like, I don't support this person anymore. I'm sorry I ever did.
Yeah, and to go back to the Dan thing, I don't support him. I never like after that. I was just like it was just really weird. I mean like you, he was a big influence on my life. Big fan of his band and the show he did. I was broken up. McKenna was like there for me because I was like destroyed because of what had happened, and I think he's just a piece of shit now. Like it's just
Yeah,
it's just
Yeah.
it's a bummer too, just like with that situation specifically, how many people are silent.
yeah.
And like I think that speaks more to unsettle folks like me, that like I feel like I've listened to enough of the stories out there to know like I know enough to believe the women in this situation.
Yeah.
But the fact that there is just so little to go on in any direction from people around that person is very troubling to me, and it tells me more that I feel like I'm in the right for kind of divorcing myself from that situation.
Can we talk about the thing we had to cut from patch notes that week? McKenna?
If you want to, it's up to you. You
Um,
said it, so yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, that's on me. So that week we do a show called Patch Notes, and every now and then we do like holidays of the day. That day was like poetry day, and I made a reference to the show because they're big on haikus. And right before the show in public, I was like, we have to cut this out because of what came out. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the haiku? Something fucking on Mount
Mount
Everest
Fuji.
or whatever. Mount Fuji. Yeah.
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 It's a bummer,
And it
you know.
was just
Like a lot of those jokes are still pretty funny, but they're just not ever going to be funny to me anymore. And I talked to my one of my best friends, Nabashin, about this. You know, he's a similar situation. He's like, sometimes I might slip up and reference humor from them. It's just like, it's weird how ingrained that like, you
is
know,
in your life.
yeah.
But everybody has their line.
Anyone that listens to a McElroy podcast knows that like you just become a Mabim Bambino after a little bit of time. I'm just calling everybody good boys and telling everybody to come play with me on my play space. And then to other people this probably sounds fucking crazy. So, but like, you know, it's good that we're talking about this, right? It's good to talk about this. And I think a big thing about me also over the last like 11 years is that I talk about this now where I wouldn't before, and I cannot permit myself the privilege of silence anymore. And I think that is also something that is important in the creative process.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say like I'm sorry for making it weird, but it's also like really important to bring this stuff.
No,
up to
we
a
shouldn't.
point. Yeah.
Weirdness is a part of human life, so that it's here just means we're people, you know.
Yep. Absolutely.
Let's just let it sit for a
Let's just let
second.
it
Let's just breathe.
You
Let's
want to
just let
talk
it
about
detox.
to change the mood. I had referenced a sex giraffe, and you probably have no idea what I'm talking about.
I have absolutely no idea, but I went with it. I'm a yes-ander.
I love it.
So,
So great.
in Australia and New Zealand, in grade school, where Ben is from New Zealand, they have a giraffe that would go to these schools in a van called Happy Healthy Harold, and he would explain things like sex and drugs. Am I getting anything wrong, Ben?
It was called Life Education over here, but it was a educational draft that would teach you about things. And all the kids would get into a van. His name was Harold. He was a legend. He was amazing. So, yeah.
Wait. Go back. What happened in the van?
This is how they do things.
It gets dark. It gets dark, and there's a giraffe puppet that teaches you all about your human body. Yeah.
So there's a man in there with you?
Man,
In the van? Are you like sitting in a
tends to be.
semicircle looking
You're
at like a
almost clo-
window?
all just
like,
sitting up close together, just ready for Harold to come out of his hole? Yeah.
But like describe to me the
Ready
van.
for the giraffe to peek out of his
It's a
hole?
big
Like-
van, dude.
Is it, you know, I'm thinking of like an Amazon warehouse van, right? Just a flat bed in the back, but enclosed, 2 doors on the back. Is there like, did somebody fucking throw some towels down for the kids? Is there like a ski blanket just laying on the fucking ground of the fan? You're like, oh, is this shag? Oh no, it's
Let
just
me- let me-
sticky.
let me get a picture
Like,
of
what
it.
is going on?
If you look up Life Education and Harold Caesar, I'm sure you'll be able to find something. But
Life
don't
education
know if I want
with
to.
Harold.
picture a really nice like RV, like it's like a really big kind of van. It's custom built. It must be.
Is there like is he in like a, you know, like a lemonade stand made of cardboard where he's like sticking
Pretty
a puppet out
much.
there? Okay.
He comes out of a hole. You just
Does
wait
the
for him
van
and he just
drive
pops out.
while you're witnessing the puppet show?
Not when I went there, but you know,
Then
you
why
never
is
can,
this a van? Why isn't this just like a
'Cause
a
it goes from
fucking
school to school.
marquee?
I think it's because they just go school to school, like nationwide,
Oh,
so it's probably easier just
Is
to
this
drive
the
it there,
van?
so-
Wait, I've never seen the van from the
It
outside.
seems like
which
a
is-
gross waste of resources.
That's
I've
on
never
the
seen the
up and
van
up, you
from
know?
the outside, which is probably a weird thing to say. But
Let's not tarnish Harold Caesar, okay? Let's not bring Harold into this, okay?
mean-
Poor
Enough
Harold.
stuff's
So
been
for- this
cancelled. I
picture I
don't need
found-
Harold to be cancelled as well, okay?
it's a picture of a white, like giant bus with a
Yep.
picture of a giraffe on the side of it.
Yep, that's it. That's
There's
it.
a line of children walking into it.
Anyway, to get back on topic,
Oh,
irrational. Oh, you got a question, Mag?
it's been 20 minutes.
It's been 20
Oh,
minutes.
Oh, yes.
20 minutes.
Yes, I knew the timer had to be coming close.
Mm-hmm. I didn't want to interrupt the happy, healthy
forgot.
Harold talk, but
Oh, sorry.
I mean,
no, it happened during that.
Tales of Arise. There we go. We did it.
Yes.
Nice. There we go.
me, that's one of mine. Between that and Boyfriend Dungeon, I'm like, those are my top two that I'm so excited for this year. I mean, Pokemon Snap as well, but
Oh shit, yeah, Pokemon Snap. I already bought that game. That's how excited I am
did
for it.
too. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. But yeah, those are my. If I can't pick one, but those are my top 3 games that I'm just most excited for. Those are my 3.
Yes, Pokemon Snap is a really good one. That's immediate in my sights. That is new Pokemon Snap's probably
20 days. 20 days.
Yes.
That was my number 1 pick for my Critic League.
Yeah. I hope it reviews well. Either way, if
too.
it's like people are like, "Oh, I hope you like
will.
the 30 minutes of it." I'm like, "Dude, it'll be the best fucking 30 minutes of my goddamn life."
I just
That's
played
$2
it again.
a minute.
Yeah, dude.
I have it on my Nintendo 64. I still play the old one all the time.
Yeah, I've played through the old one like 7 times. So if this is like a once a year revisit for me, it's already worth its weight in
absolutely.
gold.
Absolutely. I'm so pumped.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I'm having a great time. I'll let you guys know. This is very fun for me. This never happens to me, so I'm just having a great time.
This is awesome.
I'm hoping you're having a great time.
I was very serious. I'm criminally sincere as well. It's just
See?
No, yeah, I'm having a great time.
Ben, you were saying Irrational Passions?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to know a
The
little bit
reason we're
about
here.
what your plans and hopes are for Irrational Passions in the future. The tough one, the big questions, you know?
I feel like
Hard-hitting questions.
there is less of an answer than you would want. You know, I feel like it is more of like, hey, we're just gonna keep doing this until something happens.
Until we don't.
Lord knows, if anything, if you can infer anything from me doing this kind of aimlessly for 11 years, is that I do not have a long-term solution at the end of this. And yeah, I don't know, like maybe we will grow a couple of folks in the near future. That would be fun. It's a thing that we're looking into and want to do. Certainly less men, because I'm over it, you guys. I've hosted a podcast with dudes my whole life, and I'm good. So, it's just I'm very aware of the diversity problem at irrationalpatch.com. It doesn't get thrown in my face a lot, and I appreciate my friends being very patient with me in that regard. But
I'll throw it in your face if you want.
no, I'm
No.
good.
Okay, cool.
Actually, thank you though. I appreciate.
Is the
asking this.
issue men or white men specifically?
It's a little both,
Okay.
We are 4 white men and 1 black dude, and then 1 Hispanic
it.
and 1 other white dude on the podcast. But it is just always been a thing that's like been a kind of incorporated into Irrational Passions in some level. But it's always a thing that I can do better too. So I think that would be a thing that I would want to change. But also, like, I don't know, I do think about the situations of like, what if I get a job? It's not going to happen tomorrow, but like, in a future where like I write for a larger video game website, what does that look like for Irrational Passions? And I do not have an answer for you. I have people in mind that I would like turn the keys over to, and I have a feeling in myself that I wouldn't want it to end, but I also know that things are not that simple. So
Yeah, I was going to say it must be hard after you've spent so much time building it up over the years and putting so much effort into it.
it's a double-bladed sword, it grows and grows and grows, but it also grows in your heart. But it also is like part of me, don't take it the wrong way, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this, part of me just wants to like destroy it all and start over like so many times, or like just quit for a little bit, like just a little bit. And I
Is
say
it quit
that
or take a break?
I don't know.
Because there's a difference. There's a big difference. Yeah.
There is a difference, but I think it's hard to know the difference before you do it.
Fair.
It's hard to know how you're going to be on the other side of that 1-month vacation after you tell yourself you're going to take it. It's like, a relationship, right? Like, you're like, we should take a break. Usually that's only going to go one way. Like, you're not going to get back together after that. But I've also like been essentially taking a year-long break over the last year. So like one could argue. So it's complicated. I don't have a simple feeling on it, unfortunately. But there are things I want to do, and hopefully we'll be able to do them.
Nice. Cool. And for the final question, it's a real tough one. Get ready. Are you ready?
Well, let me put my
Yeah.
seatbelt on.
Nice. Here we
Buckle
go.
in.
Ready?
What is
Buckle up.
your favorite animal?
A gazelle.
Oh,
Ooh.
graceful.
I haven't
That's a
had that
good
answer before.
one.
That's
The
amazing.
correct answer was sex giraffe, but you're
God!
So close.
I knew
So
it.
close.
no extra credit. That's it. That was it. That was
Well,
There's
on that
a-
note,
there's
this,
a
this
g-
has been out
these-
of our league.
There's these little gazelle in the Disney World Animal Kingdom on the safari tour that they're just so cute.
That's
You're
awesome.
never going to look at them
Little
the
baby
same now,
gazelles.
though, are you?
They hop around a little bit. It's so great. It's just a great time.
I want to go to Disney World again.
Rest in peace,
Well,
Disney
that's been
World.
out of our league, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Another fantastic episode. Huge thank you to everyone that's come on today. Alex, thank you so much for coming on the show, buddy. It's been awesome, obviously, to get to know you more. And to everyone else, we'll just go around and ask where people can find you. So first off, Alex, where can people find you, buddy?
Well, thank you for having me on. Also, I don't know
it's a
if
pleasure,
are
mate.
these shows supposed to be serious or funny because
Yes.
We get a pretty good mix. That's
okay,
kind
I
of
feel
what
like it
we've
was
done.
very serious. So I don't know if that was a good
It was
or bad
it was a
thing.
good mix. It was a good mix of serious
Okay,
and funny.
good.
I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can follow me at AlFighter27. That's everywhere. You know, I've my Instagram is private now, so you probably won't be able to get in the golden gates there. Gotta work for those food videos that I post when I'm cooking. But Irrational Passions podcast, just look for it on your favorite podcast services. I'm also on a monthly Nintendo show called A Trip to Nintendo Land with my good friend Mike Burgess.
Ooh.
At the beginning of every month, I do the monthly syllabus for RPG University with my good friend Scott White. And occasionally, Brian Nabashin Jackson, my partner in podcast, and I will sit down and talk about random things for a show we call Patch Notes, which is very
Fuck.
funny. Very, very funny. No,
That
it's
is
all right.
funny.
There are no original ideas that exist in the universe. It's fine.
Whoa.
And it just leaves.
He did. Go
It is
fine.
like a not regular show, so there's no competition there, I promise. And I think that's about it. I don't tweet that often, but you can follow me there still.
So please go and check out irrationalpassions.com as well, because you have amazing work going on there, and the podcast is fantastic. So absolutely, go and check it out.
It's irrational passion, like IRRA.
Like
See,
ERRA.
No, it's like I just want to emphasize the I because the way Ben said it right now, to me, it sounded like rational passions, and I was like,
It's
no,
just
that's
an
not-
Yeah,
excellent
no such
accent, you know?
thing. No such thing.
that's
It's
that's my
rational
new
passion.
show, Rational Passions. It's
And
like-
Caesar, where can people find you, buddy?
Me? Well, first I want to do Camille because he had to leave early, so you can follow Camille, who was
No,
here.
we don't
He
have to
hates-
after that Kingdom Hearts slander. You
You can find him dead in the ditch.
Wow.
At Camille H on Twitter, at Poker Ramble podcast services, twitch.tv/CamilleH. That's the way he says it, so I'm respecting him. You can follow me at Caesar Towers on Twitter, Caesar Towers on Twitch, or you can find me on Patch Notes, a weekly video game news show where we give you the video game news you need to know about in under 15 minutes. And I host, McKenna edits, she joins in too. It's a lot of fun. We do weird, goofy stories, but we also do serious stories, like Intel having an AI that censors slurs for you.
Spoilers.
Well, this episode's probably gonna come out after that one,
Caesar.
so it's fine. It's a tease. It's a tease.
Spoilers?
It's a tease, McKenna. It's
That's
called
funny.
a teaser. It's called a little taste. It's called a little. But yeah,
Appetizer,
you can
know?
check us out there at linktr.ee/patchnotes or
Love
patchnotes
it, buddy.
vids on Twitter.
Cool. And Erica, where can people find you?
You can find me at Ambelina on Twitter and playing video games on my PlayStation right now because that's all I'm doing at the moment. It's fun.
Yeah, we're gonna get into
Yay.
Warzone. It's
We're gonna
be
go play
awesome.
Warzone.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm gonna go
McKenna,
finish
thank you so much
crying
for
about
producing.
Spirit Fair.
Oh yeah.
After last night, my eyes finally feel better after I totally broke down last night. I think I might be okay to finally finish the game. We'll see.
We'll wait for that update next time. Yeah.
It was rough.
And McKenna, thank you so much for producing. And where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at PotterPants2 and 2. I pop up and edit patch notes at Patch Notes Vids, and My friend Jose Ruckus and I have a podcast coming out April 20th called HBO Max, MAKS, where we review everything on HBO Max, MAX. No legal trouble
That's
there.
really awesome.
I'm so excited.
Nice. And,
Benjamin, where can people find you?
you can find me if you want to, or if you don't, that's cool. But I'm at
No, I
Please
don't.
Be Excited, please the letter B, and then Excited on Twitch and on Twitter, and Instagram. It's just the same, but with some underscores in there, so you can check me out over there. That's fantastic. If you could, that'd be great. Oh, good. Well, thank you everyone for an amazing show, and we will catch you next time.